Welcome back to the homestead. So, there is a break in the rain. It has been beautifully wet the last few days. When you go months without any rain, it is a very, very welcome sight. So, I'm headed to the garden and I thought I'd take you with me and give you a garden tour for July. Let's go take a look. This year we added asparagus. I just put these in a few months ago, so this is something we are not going to harvest for a few years. But we've got some new stalks coming up. This one has shot up nicely. This little guy. This one as well. A couple of stalks there. Well, 4 days of rain, even in a well-mulched garden. Looks like I have a ton of weeding to do, but that's okay. The beans are doing beautifully. I gotta get in here and unwrap these and get them going up our snow fence here. But green beans are coming up nice. This weeded mess is supposed to be peppers of all kinds. Sweet, spicy, and I don't know what it is, but I do not seem to be very good at growing peppers. So if anyone has tips, they get about this tall and then they'll start producing peppers. I can never get them taller, no matter how early I start them either. Tomatoes are really taking off, finally. Need to come in and do a little bit of pruning. But there was quite a while where I was worried our tomatoes wouldn't make it. Something was coming through. Look at this guy, he's just a thick mess. Something was coming through and just cutting them down at the stalk. I lost like 8 or 10 tomatoes and I was devastated. But it looks like they are finally taking off. I do a little bit of pruning, but I have found they support themselves a little bit better if you just kind of let them go wild. I still have this fencing here to weave them in and out. This one is taken off very beautifully. Look at that. Just a beast of a little tomato. So they are looking good. Okay, so this here is broccoli. I don't seem to have any luck with broccoli. We planted this guy May 1st. It is the end of June. And this is as far as it's gotten. So if anyone has broccoli growing tips, and I planted a whole bunch, and this one, and that one lying over there, are the only ones that came up. So, please leave your broccoli growing tips in the comments. I would greatly appreciate it. Potatoes look like a wild mess. I usually cover them with straw, but what, sweetheart? Sure. But for whatever reason, I have had a heck of a time trying to find straw. Nobody seems to have it. And so I haven't covered these guys. So I'm hoping I can get some and get them covered. It just seems to help promote some more tubal growth when I cover them up, and they gotta do some more stretching to get to the sunlight. So I'm hoping to do that before they flower, which, they're flowering. More potatoes here. These ones I was able to cover once. We had some leftover straw, really just some old goat bedding. So I tossed those in here and they have exploded through it. So I want to get these covered again. I just keep covering and keep covering until we're ready to harvest. But I need to find some more for my other patch. And this jungle here is some radishes. Why don't we check these? See if we got some. Oh, yeah. Woohoo! Look at that pretty thing. Oh, beautiful. Radishes. I just like to broadcast. So looks like we'll have to come in here and thin some of these out. Oh yeah, look at that one. Isn't that beautiful? This rain has really done good for these radishes. And radishes too, maybe it's just the dry spring we had, because radishes we usually plant a few times before summer hits. And these guys have just taken a long time to really get some meat on them. Oh, look at that. Just beautiful. And we'll plant these over and over. They're really good pickled. Got a nice bread and butter recipe from my Nana that does really well with these radishes. Oh, yeah, look at that one. Oh, that one split all that water. And then, if you can see them anywhere, cucumbers in this mess. Got a few. Same with the cucumbers. They have been very slow to appear and progress. I'm like, what? We're not going to have any pickles. Come on. Some more radishes. Oh, yeah. These guys are finally fattening up. That's very, very nice. Oh, yeah. And then, our corn. Our corn is really starting to take off. And now that this is established, I need to get in here and take all the weeds out so I could rake those pine needles back in between all the corn to try and smother that growth. But oh, that corn is just looking beautiful. I'm really, really excited. We planted glass gem, and it's either, oh shoot, it's either glass gem or giant Indian. We may have done both, but I've got 2 rows of corn, so about 80 feet of corn. I'm excited to see how they do. Got a few medicinal herbs over here. I'm really excited about this. This is all echinacea, and this is going to be the best, our best bloom yet. I mean, just look at all of these flowers coming up. Flower, flowers, flower, 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 flowers everywhere. Oh, I'm so excited. I planted these going on 3 years ago, and I have just let them go and let them go, and I have not harvested any yet. So this will be my first year harvesting them. And then here we put chamomile. It looks like it's trying. It's working its way. It seems to be a slow growing herb, but that's okay. This kind of mess over here, you can see a few of the flowers. This is St. John's wort. They transplanted a little bit ago. It's all along the roadside. But we get some neighbors that like to ride their quads. And so I decided to move some into the yard and hope that this will just seed itself and we'll get a nice patch here. And then look at those sunflowers. Oh, they are just beautiful. I am so excited. This is our first year doing sunflowers. These are just a few of them. We've planted quite a bit all over the yard. And these are red dye Hopi sunflowers. So from the pictures, they should have big, beautiful red blooms. And then our hope is to supplement our animal feed in the winter time by growing a bunch of sunflowers. I don't think we planted enough this year, but this will at least get our seed stock, and then we can find a really nice place to put a bunch of sunflowers. And what's really cool is the shells can be used as a dye. It creates like a nice purple dye. See my lamb's quarter in the back? Yeah, that's not intended to be there, but my garlic is going crazy. I gotta cut these scapes off. I'm not exactly sure how to tell when it's ready. I picked one a little bit ago because someone said, oh, when the couple bottom leaves start dying off, they're ready. Well, it's really small, so we obviously didn't plant enough to do long storage, so I decided I'll just let them go and we'll see what happens. The kitchen herbs are doing nicely. I've got some lemon balm. I should cut some of that back and just encourage some new growth. The thyme has just exploded. It's beautiful and is doing very well. I need to cut a bunch of that out and dry it. Oh, so pretty. And the sage, my sage is finally coming up, but oh my gosh, it's such a slow grower. These kitchen herbs are all something new for me. I am terrible. For whatever reason, I can't seem to grow herbs from seed. So I bought a bunch of starts to get these going, and hopefully they'll just get established and do really well. The thyme has really done well. I had rosemary over here, but it's just a stick now, so I've got some new starts I need to transplant. So hopefully it'll clear up later and I can get that done. This here is a new experiment. This is all oats. We seeded this with oats. I'm a bit concerned with what seems to be a pretty significant grain shortage. So I decided, well, let's try and grow some of our own, see how well it does. And this has been doing beautifully, but it seems to be a very comfortable bed for the deer. So I'm hoping this stands back up. And I need to find a way to keep the deer out of it. They don't eat it, which is great, but they're just sleeping on it, which is kind of frustrating. I don't want them to sleep on it. So if anyone has tips on how to keep the deer out of your tiny little grain field, I would love that too. And the raspberries are ripening. Oh, I'm so excited. With all as dry as it was, I was so worried that the berry harvest this year would be, but with all the rain we've had this last week, these guys have really just exploded, and they've got nice sized berries on them. They are wild, so they're not going to be like your store-bought commercial variety. But we are so lucky to have so much food on this little piece of heaven here. And then, of course, our black cherry trees are just loaded. It's a fight every year to get a few pounds worth. These birds love these cherries, even when they're green. They absolutely love them. So hopefully I can keep them at bay and at least get a few gallons worth. Goodness gracious. Oh, the grapes are starting to plump up their little bunches of fruit. Oh, another wild variety. Very nice. Got a few bunches there. Like I said, this place is just full of food and medicine. Oh, I love it here so much. And it's difficult to see, but that little red and a little blackberry there. This is the first year any of the mulberry trees have put berries on. We have lots of young ones, and this one is actually smaller than another one we have, but it's the first year that I've seen berries on these. They're just tiny little red dots. Oh, so hopefully we can get those before the birds do too. Lovely. And then of course our blackberries. These guys won't be ready till summer, but they have really put out a good number of berries. This might be their best year, even with as dry as it was this spring. Well, that is our garden for July. I hope your guys' gardens are doing beautifully. I hope if you're in some of these areas that are seeing droughts, I pray that the Mother sends you some rain. Until next time, we'll be here where the grass, dirt, and gravel meet.